welcome back. President Cyril Ramaphosa paid tribute to former Deputy President David Mabuza, describing him as a leader deeply rooted in activism. The 64-year-old who passed away yesterday was praised for his contributions across multiple government portfolios. Mabuza served as Deputy President of South Africa from 2018 to 2023. His political career began in Mpumalanga, where he was appointed MEC for Education from 1994 to 1998, while also serving as regional chairperson of the African National Congress during that time. Now, over the years, he steadily rose through the ANC's ranks, becoming the party's deputy president in 2017 and the country's deputy president shortly after that. To reflect on the life, career and political legacy of Mabuza, we are joined now by political analyst Sandile Swana. Mr. Swana, thank you so much for joining us this history and in talking about our former Deputy President David Mabuza. Quite a rich but also complex legacy to discuss. How would you describe David Mabuza, the man and the politician?
Oh, thank you so much, Masa, and good evening to your listeners. Certainly, when you look at David Mabuza, you are looking at a man who was an activist, an ambitious man. Almost wherever he went, he ended up being a leader of the student movement, a leader of the teachers union, a leader of the Education Crisis Committee, a leader of the ANC, eventually a deputy president of the Republic of South Africa. So he was a very ambitious man. The only question that we have to answer is what were his achievements and what was his legacy.
What would you say some of his achievements were off the top of your head when you think of his legacy?
David Mabuza is known to have started on the public record rural boarding schools in Mpumalanga, although we do not know what was achieved through those boarding schools. He started the Rapid Implementation Unit, which was in the Premier's office during the time that he was the Premier, which controlled the tenders in Mpumalanga. Even there, we do not know exactly what it is that was delivered. The unfortunate thing is that a lot of the time, the CVs of comrades are not based on actual concrete achievements on the ground. It's based on positions that they occupied, not what they delivered. However, we cannot overlook the fact that although he had been made an MEC for Education by Matthew Posa, he had to be fired from that position for inflating the results, the matric results in Mpumalanga by 20%, who was then at a later stage brought back into government by Ndaweni Mahlangu, who was another dubious character. So from that time onwards, he managed to somehow work his way into the Zuma slate, and then he was reinstated into power and eventually became a member of the Premier League that supported Zuma and eventually defected from the Zuma slate and supported the installation of Cyril Ramaphosa, which then gained him the deputy presidency in the country.
And just listening to you also go through that chronologically as well, speaking about David Mabuza's legacy as well, one can't help but also think about an interview that Matthew Posa had on this channel a little bit earlier and describing him as a shrewd politician. Would you say the same then, if you're just looking at some of those moves that he had made?
Yes, I think, I don't know what the people mean when they say shrewd. I think at the end of the day, my own assessment, and I think his own assessment, David Mabuza's assessment, because he said that, you know, guys, every time I was on the slate of the ANC, my slate won. But the methods that we use to win these elections need to come to an end, because by doing what we did, we've destroyed the ANC. And when you look at him having supported and started to gain the upper hand in the ANC by supporting Zuma and later on supporting Cyril Ramaphosa, he is one of the people that supported the destruction of South Africa and the destruction of the ANC. Where we are today, where you're starting to have 0.1% GDP growth, those things were developed in Polokwane, cemented by the Premier League, and ultimately galvanized by the CR17, and so on and so forth. So David Mabuza's legacy is a legacy of destruction. It's not a legacy of any shrewdness. It's a legacy of crookedness, of inflating ANC membership, of being surrounded by suspicions of murders and other criminal activities, including millions of rands that were stored and then stolen from his farm. So I think people can use this word shrewd. It may be a polite English word if they want to use it, but the ANC has got to come to the party and admit who are the crooks in the ANC and what is their legacy.
Sure. And that's quite a sobering way of also putting it as well, and a reminder as well of that role. Now, we also know that he determined the cause of the ANC, as we've been talking about now, in many memorable and infamous moments as well. One can also think about, again, going back to that 2017 ANC elective conference, going against the Premier League faction. What do you think, what kind of ANC do you think we would have and we'd be seeing today had he not backed Cyril Ramaphosa at that elective conference and stuck to his Premier League?
I think that the problem we have is that the ANC over time developed the tendency of presenting two devils and then saying, choose the better devil. So when they said choose between a Zuma slate and a Cyril Ramaphosa slate, they were again putting us in the trap of saying choose the better devil. At that time, people should have started to move away from the ANC itself. I cannot speculate about what would have happened had this other one happened, because Zuma and company were already destroying the country, and Cyril was part of that, by the way. And Cyril did a worse job than Zuma in any event. And I'm not saying Nkosazana would not have done a worse job, because the state she was on was a destructive state in any case. And the ANC has kept South Africa as a whole on a destructive path. So that is the situation. I wouldn't want to say Nkosazana would have destroyed it less than Cyril. Certainly it was a path of destruction.
Mr. Swana, thank you so much for your time and your insights as always. Of course, that was political analyst Sandile Swana, just reflecting on the legacy of former Deputy President David Mabuza.